Hello, and welcome to Step 4, questions 14 through 31. Trust. Addiction turns our lives upside down, leaving us afraid to trust others and ourselves. We ignore our gut instincts and do not always trust our own choices and actions. We allow others to take advantage of us, and as a result, no longer trust easily. The first step in getting back our serenity is remembering we have a higher power. Trusting that power, we can learn that whatever the situation, whatever the outcome, we can move forward. We can become better people because of it. As children, we learn to trust authority figures. When addiction enters our lives, our view of those authorities can change. Are they, the police officers, emergency room doctors, attorneys, and rehab therapists, protecting us or working against us? We believe they all created barriers to make our lives more difficult, or even blamed us for our situations. We became disillusioned with people, places, and things we thought existed to help us. Many times we actually blamed them for our problems. The longer we live with the addiction of those we love, the less we trust. Then we walk into these rooms and learn to trust, slowly at first, ever cautiously. The program offers us the opportunity to trust again. Question number 14. Do I trust my own judgment? Why or why not? I think I usually do. I tend to err on the side of caution, so if anything, I judge things more harshly than is necessary. Number 15. Under what circumstances have I used my lack of trust as a weapon against others? I have had so many traumatic experiences with the addict that sometimes I treat his siblings as if I don't trust them for no reason. The addict has said so many horrible things to me, stolen valuable things from me, and betrayed my trust in so many ways. If my own child can betray me so badly, why wouldn't anyone else? Number 16. Who do I trust, and why? I trust my other children. They have not given me a reason not to. I trust my husband, sister, parents, and friends to varying degrees depending on what needs trusting. Number 17. What issues do I still not entrust to my higher power? I know everyone suffers, and everyone dies. It is part of being human. So I can't trust that he will help me avoid suffering, and I can't trust he will protect my children from an untimely death. Number 18. Why have I allowed someone to take advantage of me? What can I do differently? In the past, I was much more of a people pleaser. I like seeing people happy. I've gotten too exhausted to care anymore. Sometimes I let my children take advantage of me, but that's because they are my children. In the future, I can make sure I am taking care of myself as much as I am others. A member shares, when I walked into the rooms of Nar-Anon, I was unable to trust because I didn't want people to know I was living with addiction. After working steps 1 through 3, I began to trust, first in a higher power, then others. Fear. Facing our fears, both real and imagined, requires courage. When we let our fear take over, we tend to ignore, deny, or avoid reality. Fear can cause pain and anxiety, which can lead to confusion and stress-related illnesses. Our inability to control others and the knowledge that we must set boundaries may frighten us. The fear of abandonment or being alone may cause us, in desperation, to place ourselves in unhealthy situations. Exhaustion is the result when we use energy in mulling over the past with regret or in trying to figure out ways to escape a future that hasn't even come yet. Likewise, setting up an image of the future and anxiously hovering over it for fear it will or won't come true uses all of our energy and leaves us unable to live today. Yet living this day is the only way to have a life. Fear of the unknown causes anxiety and can be paralyzing. Some of our fears are justified, although not all are based on reality. Past experiences do not dictate future events. The knock at the door, a late-night phone call, sirens in the neighborhood, or raised voices do not always mean bad news for us. Some of our fears are shown in irrational behaviors when we are in the middle of a crisis or confronted with a desperate situation. There are many tools available to overcome fear. We can call a sponsor or Nar-Anon friend, recite the Serenity Prayer, call on our higher power, meditate, or stay in the moment. We can also go to a meeting for support, write down our thoughts and feelings, read Nar-Anon literature, or focus on helping someone else. Question number 19. What are some of my fears or anxieties? I fear that something bad will happen to someone I love, particularly my children, especially my son who is an addict. I am anxious about my children's future. I fear I won't be able to be whole. Number 20. How do I know if my fears are rational or irrational? I think my fears are rational if there is a high probability of the fear being realized. My son who struggles with addiction has been resuscitated many times with Narcan. I don't think it's irrational that I'm afraid he will die of a drug overdose someday. I think it is irrational that I'm so worried about my other children. Number 21. What do I believe causes my fears? I think events that happened in my past and seeing too many horrible things on the news caused my fear. Also, I didn't have a happy childhood, and I feel like it took me a long time to become my own person. I don't want this for my children. I'm afraid they will have many struggles like me. I have a fear of seeing them suffer and in pain. Number 22. How can my higher power help with my fears? God's power is infinite. I don't think I give him enough credit. I think he can lead me to a peaceful heart and help me trust in his plan. I think he can give me the strength to be okay when things are bad. Members share thoughts on fear. When I am afraid, I lose connection with my higher power and my recovery. When I am fearful, I worry, jump to conclusions, exaggerate things, and assume the worst. Time may be spent on worrying about an outcome that may never happen. When I turn fear to faith, I no longer need to be afraid. By staying in the moment and trusting in my higher power, I can gain courage to move forward. Unhealthy fear may lead to obsession about the addict. Staying in the moment can reduce the anxiety that can be associated with unhealthy fear. When I first came to Nar-Anon, my life was ruled by fears, the real fears of life and those imagined fears that found space in my head and developed from there. I found fear in every waking moment. No matter what the situation, I feared the worst. I received bad news for so long, I came to expect it. At times I have even gone in search of it. My sponsor helped me see the difference between real fears and those I imagined. Today I know that there are things in life that cause real pain. Through those experiences I have learned not to let them control me. I know I don't have to spend time inventing fears. I can use that time on my serenity. Resentment. Expectations of others can lead to resentments which affect our personal relationships. We want others to behave the way we think they should. When they don't, this causes us anxiety, stress, and anger. Expectations of ourselves can sometimes lead to resentments. Saying yes when we really want to say no affects our self-esteem and can cause us to question our ability to recover. It is easier to give in to the pressure of the addict's demands, alleviating the chaos of the moment, rather than sticking to our boundaries. In the end, we resent ourselves and our decisions. When working step 4, we become willing to put aside our resentments and focus on our recovery by taking an honest look at our behaviors. Members share thoughts on resentment. Resentment is holding a grudge. It builds up and eventually erupts. Resentments are reliving hurt feelings and not letting go. Holding on to resentments prevents healing. When I believe I am not being listened to or taken seriously, I start to feel resentful. Admitting resentments helps release my negative feelings. Acknowledging unrealistic expectations can help to alleviate resentments. Question number 23. What resentments am I holding on to from my past? I resent people for treating me badly in the past. Number 24. What do I gain from holding on to these resentments? To me, I feel like I gain the ability to not let them treat me badly in the future. Holding on to resentments is like a protective measure. If I put up a wall with someone, they can't hurt me anymore. Number 25. How are these resentments still affecting my life today? I find it hard to let go of pain and anger. I find it hard to feel at peace. Number 26. Why do I resent it when others do not behave or act the way I think they should? I resent it when others seem to get away with not playing by life's rules, when they get away with things they shouldn't get away with. To me it seems unjust. Number 27. How do my resentments affect my relationships? I lose respect for people, and I put up emotional walls. I tell myself sometimes, I don't need anybody. Control. Control is trying to assume power that is not really ours, when we should be minding our own business. Some have difficulty accepting we have a problem with control. Some of us do not even realize we are trying to control. This may have been pointed out to us, or we recognized our behavior in someone else. Many justified controlling behavior by saying, I believe my way is the right or better way. They cannot do it for themselves. What if they don't take care of it? I'm just trying to help. They don't do it fast enough, so I have to do it myself. Sometimes imaginary control is thrust upon us when the addict pushes us to manage things they either cannot or do not want to do on their own. Other times we find we have been pulled in slowly before we even realize it. Often we find the disease of addiction is so uncontrollable we latch on to any illusion of control. We try our hardest to control when we are afraid of the outcome. We can become so obsessed with our need to control that we lose sight of our health, well-being, and serenity. Many believe if the addict would stop using, our lives would be happy and serene. Everyone is unique, therefore, expecting others to behave as we think they should is unrealistic. By attending meetings and working our program, we discover we are powerless over others. This results in a great burden being lifted from us. Our perceived control of the addict was imaginary. Our happiness and serenity depends upon our ability to detach with love from the addicts and cease trying to change and control them. By having faith and praying to our higher power, we can begin to let go of the outcome and stop projecting what we imagine the future will bring. With the help of our sponsor, we can learn to convert negative control issues into positive traits. This puts more balance back into our lives. Letting go of control liberates us to focus on our recovery. Members share thoughts on control. It was hard to tell the difference between guidance and control when my child was a minor. After working my program, I found it easier to let go and just offer advice when he asked. I never thought I was controlling until I realized I was using the same tactics my mother had used on me, pleading with the addict, trying to make him feel guilty, and reminding him of all I had done for him. I tried to control by enabling. I thought if I kept doing more for him, he would stop using out of gratitude. How crazy was that? Control is trying to run someone else's life, with or without their permission. I am a control freak by nature, but I like to use the word organized. It sounds nicer. The program has shown me that I have control over one thing, me, with my higher power's help. Question number 28. What do I fear will happen if I let go of my imaginary power? I fear for the addict's health and safety, and for my emotional well-being if something bad should happen to him. Number 29. Do I feel powerless and frightened of failure if I let go? If so, why? Yes, I do. Letting go feels like I am washing my hands of the situation and choosing to be powerless. Number 30. How has my controlling affected the well-being of others and myself? I think my controlling annoys people and hinders them from being able to grow. I think my controlling has put an impossible burden on myself to try and fix things that I can't fix. Number 31. What can I do to let go of feeling the need to control? I can continue to work through the Nar-Anon Program, ask God for help, and practice letting go, or not controlling, when opportunities arise. Thank you for listening. Join me next time for the final part of Step 4, questions 32 through 46.